And we're back again. Hello, everyone. It is your girl, Tech Ty. That is me, and I'm coming to you straight from Brooklyn, New York. So if you hear any stuff in the background, like paramedics, fire trucks, or whatever, like that's just what it is. That's the sazon, the seasoning to my city. So enjoy it, embrace it. But before I start to get on my, how I get, I'd like everyone to help me welcome my esteemed guest today and speaker, Mr. Chandler Malone, who is the founder of Bootup. So, Chandler and I are going to get into a great conversation today about Bootup because this is the founder series. So, we talk about all things founder related. Like, why'd you do this? Like, what is this? Talk to me. What's going on? So, okay, that's enough of me. I know y'all came for me, but that's enough of me. Let's get into Chandler. So, hello, Chandler. Good day. How are you? Welcome.
I'm doing super well, Ty. Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here.
Are you? Well, it's great to see you. So, I'm very excited to know that you're here and speaking with us. So, I just really like to go over who you are, how you are, and the like. So, I mentioned that you are the founder of Boot Up. What is Boot Up?
Yep. So with Boot Up, we help give people access to economic mobility through careers in tech. And so we do that by helping match candidates to the best training programs and job opportunities for them. On the back end, we help enterprise technology companies, enterprise retail companies hiring for tech roles get more comfortable hiring candidates who come from non-traditional backgrounds.
Okay, so that was a mouthful, and that's great to know. So, as founders, I realized that there's one thing that founders do across the board is that they see a problem or they see a gap or a hole in something, and they decide to create a solution to fill it or problem solution. So why Boot Up? What about the landscape of tech as it is and the like made you decide that you wanted to stop whatever you're doing in your life and start from the bottom? Started from the bottom, now we here, and create Boot Up. So talk to us.
Yeah, definitely. So previously, I was working as an investor at a venture capital firm, investing in other early stage startups. And so, after doing a few deals in 2020, a number of the companies had come to me, basically struggling to find talent. And so, with that being said, I started doing research just on the macro tech talent numbers and statistics. And I found that today there's a 2 to 5 million person talent gap in the tech industry in the US alone. And it's projected to grow to 85 million people by 2030. And so like those numbers are just massive. And so I automatically kind of like understood that there was going to be an opportunity there. As I started fishing further, I found out that college enrollment's been declining every year for the past 11 years. So you have almost 3 million fewer people in college than you had 10 years ago. And so, that college system had been the largest pipeline of tech talent. And so
Absolutely.
as we see, this gap widening and the largest source decreasing, there's got to be something that's filling it. And that's
Yeah.
how I started learning more about boot camps, vocational training programs, and some of these alternative education options to help individuals get into tech. As I went back and started talking to companies, I found out that some companies had problems hiring folks from non-traditional backgrounds because it was their first time doing it. They didn't really know how to understand how good the program that candidates were coming from were, or how strong
Mhm.
candidates were. And so what we do is we provide companies with a suite of tools to give them access to that information and feel
Love
more
it.
comfortable hiring folks who don't come from traditional tech training backgrounds.
Okay, so you mentioned non-traditional backgrounds. What exactly is non-traditional versus traditional?
Yeah, and I think 10 years from now, this is going to be a completely different answer. But today, we call a
Mhm.
traditional background someone who went through a 4-year program and studied for that particular role that they're applying for. And then a non-traditional background, someone who's been self-taught, gone through a tech boot camp, gone through a vocational training program, anything that's outside of the university system.
Okay, anything that's outside of university system. So for everyone watching, once again, traditional is more so the collegiate route, at minimum 4-year program at a college or a university, excuse me. I should back that up just a little bit. It could be at minimum maybe 2 years if you're doing an associate's degree, but within that collegiate system, to 4 years for the overall if you're doing a bachelor's, and all the way through higher learning if you went to PhD and the master's through PhD and the like, as some people do with computer science and other areas of study. And for non-traditional are those people that are upskilling and reskilling. Hello, because you know that's what your girl likes to talk about, and are transforming their lives personally and professionally by doing additional training and training programs. So since starting Boot Up, I mean, what are you actually hoping to achieve? So you did talk about a skills gap that is going to continue to widen, but why you? Why now? And like, why do you think you could do this? I'm not saying you can't. You're out here doing it, and it's amazing because there is enough space for everyone to create a solution that impacts more and more people positively. And I really like hearing that from founders that they were just like, okay, they're players, but my voice is added. So why you and why this of all the things that you could do?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll answer that second question first as to why this. On the business side, right, whenever the largest enterprises in the world are all facing the same problem, there's an
Mhm,
incredible business opportunity. But more importantly, tech is one of the highest paying career paths. And
mhm,
without having, college degree requirements and those types of barriers, for folks who are looking for economic mobility to be able to break in careers that give them really high earning potential, tech is basically the best path to go. And so this was an opportunity where we could build a really large business. We could also help millions of people get their careers in a place where they're making more money than maybe they, ever dreamed that they would be able to make. And so, for me, I feel like that's a great, mission to be working towards. And so, um, you know, I think that's kind of, the why. And then like,
mhm,
why me? And why am I the person to start this? So I'm not technical, right? I'm not a software engineer. I'm not a designer. I'm
mhm,
not a product manager. But my career in tech has been incredibly fruitful and beneficial, for me. And so I'm not someone who's coming into, the tech industry with, kind of like all the bells and whistles and degree programs that, folks who are
mhm.
looking for. But I've been able to manage and navigate it. And so, me being able to manage and navigate it, I think that I can take some of the things that I've been able to see and
Mhm.
be able to share that information with other people to where, it's not just me and, my family benefiting from it, but, there are millions of families benefiting from it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that why you and what you're hoping to achieve, and the fact that you are community oriented. And you just simply said that not just me and my family, but other families, that impact just grows exponentially instead of linearly when we think about, all the community aspects that are involved. It just continues to grow. It 1x's, it 2x's, it 10x's when we think about community involvement. So that's really amazing to hear, and I'm grateful. So I also want to talk about, you mentioned that you started this in 2020, correct? Or you were seeing the effects, and we're going to get into, or we could get into now as well, as what the global disruption of COVID has done to the landscape of our work world and our personal lives, of course, as we have come up on the full second anniversary of this disruption and going into the third full year of us living in a COVID influenced world. So, where were you in 2020 with the program's genesis? And where are you right now in the beginning of 2022 with who you're serving and how you're serving them?
Yep, definitely. So in December of 2020 is when we launched the company, and so it was basically just an idea, at that point. And it took us all the way through July to really be able to get, a product up. I
Okay.
will say though, speaking on, kind of the impacts of COVID, COVID really has accelerated the entire non-traditional education space and has
Yes.
amplified who gets opportunity because you don't have to just be, in the Bay Area to get a tech job with a Bay Area company. You can be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You can be in Charleston, South Carolina, wherever.
Where are you?
I'm currently in Miami, Florida.
Oh, okay. MIA. People,
Yeah.
he was in Tulsa when we were planning this conversation. So he represents, I was gonna say bi-coastal, but that's not coastal, but he represents. So Tulsa, MIA. Sorry, you were saying.
um, but
You could
yeah,
be
so
in.
COVID really has just like distributed the opportunity for folks, and you even saw in 2020 and 2021 record numbers of folks joining boot camps and non-traditional, tech training programs, because they had more free time, and there was space to be able to get jobs that weren't just in their locales. Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
And you know what? With you spending time in Miami currently and also in Tulsa, I think about the venture side and I think about the side and the tech scenes that are growing rapidly in both of those locales. So I mean, you are well positioned and I'm thinking about also the learners who are in those locales who now have access to more opportunities because you understand that Tulsa, Oklahoma has a different overall distribution of socioeconomical opportunities. And I mean, even the look of it than a Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
And a Miami, Florida versus a San Francisco or Bay Area, yay? Or, Silicon Valley as to New York. So it seems like you're better suited to create more solutions based on the fact that this is a vast country with 300 plus million people. And in creating solutions, you're trying to do that the for everyone, but with a personalized touch. You know what?
Yep.
I promise y'all I'm not paid by him. I'm just really excited. Like I like talking to founders and I like talking about their program. So I promise y'all he is not paying me.
I would
But
love to go a little bit further on that point, though.
good.
About different locales, right? So one of the things that we're seeing in Miami, right, is
Mhm,
Miami is having this huge moment.
mhm,
And actually, let me take it back. The people of Miami love to call it a movement, not a moment. So Miami is having this huge movement where tech workers are moving from all over the world to the city. But again,
mhm.
right, tech workers are some of the highest paid folks, which is putting pressure on folks who have been, living in Miami, born and raised there, not just moving there for tech. And I think there is an incredible opportunity to be able to provide those skills and training and resources to the folks who have been in Miami who weren't a part of the tech industry, to give them access to what is causing the city to continue to grow, but also making it more expensive to live there. And so that's like one use case that just like cities and demographics and locales can use
Absolutely.
from working with us. But you look at a place like Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Tulsa is definitely in a different place than a Miami is, right? But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, Tulsa wants to, and Oklahoma and some of these heartland states want to remain economically important and economically viable. As industries change, as our world changes, then it's important for cities like that to invest heavily in building out a tech workforce so that 10 years from now, when the oil and gas industry isn't as strong as it is currently, those types of places will still have folks with the skills to be able to support themselves, their families, and the community at large.
All I can think about when you were just speaking is how fortunate both Tulsa, Oklahoma and Miami, Florida are that they have a Chandler Malone problem solving and creating solutions, with the people of these locales in mind. Like, so I mean, I could scream it from the rooftops while I'm not on the rooftops. It's cold out here in New York, whatever the case may be. But like for those of you watching, this is why we have the founder series to get inside of the heads, the minds of people that are creating solutions. And I can't say it enough. And creating solutions that are spanning the gamut of a community. And it's really great to hear. So I really do thank you for that. Now, I want to get a little bit more in depth about COVID because, as you mentioned, and this is just where we are, COVID has accelerated everything in our personal lives and our professional lives. So, could you provide some insights on? We went from where you started the Genesis in 2020, in December 2020, founding the company, and then you said through July 2021, which was when you kind of got a program and a product up and running, and then starting to serve people. And here we are at the beginning. Q1 of 2022. So, where are you going? What does 2022 look like for y'all? And I do want to mention, because when we talked about this, you mentioned to me that in 2021, Bootup helped 254 individuals get their first jobs in tech for a total of over 17.5 million dollars in annual salary. I mean, that is significant. Chef's kiss. Did I do it right? Okay, it doesn't matter. That is really significant for a product launch, program launch in July of 2021 to have those numbers and finish so strong within 2 quarters, just 6 months. And to me, that goes back to exactly what you're saying of why you picked up this charge and had your own solution to add to this landscape of this widening gap. So I know I've said a lot of things there and everyone's keeping up, but my audience is accustomed to me. They know I like to talk that talk. So what does 2022 look like for Chandler Malone and Buddha?
Yeah. So first thing I'll say is from a numbers perspective, we'd love to 10x what we did this past year. So we'd love to help, over 2,500 people, get their first jobs in tech. And I don't want to put a limit there, but I think that that's like a really fair goal, for us to
Okay.
set for ourselves. And then in terms of, the actual product and offerings, we're really excited about a few new things that we're launching. I can't share everything, but I'll share a few, the specifics that I'm super excited about. So, for example, one thing that is really important for job seekers is just to even be able to get seen. And so, a lot of folks, when they submit their resumes to companies, they get spit out and they don't even make it through what's called an applicant tracking system, which is
The
typically whenever
ATS.
Yep. When you apply on the company's website, that's their applicant tracking system. A lot of resumes are not formatted properly to make it through. So you can have all of the credentials that you need, all of the skill set, be a great fit for the company, and still never get an opportunity. And so we're going to be working on launching basically an ATS optimization tool. So whenever a candidate uploads their resume onto our platform, we will automatically optimize it so that it will go into applicant tracking systems and make it through. So that's one thing that we're really excited about. Another thing that we're really excited about in terms of helping companies understand how strong candidates are, but also helping candidates understand how strong they need to be to get roles at specific companies, is
Mhm.
we're launching a marketplace of employer-sponsored credentials and assessments. So this
Nice.
helps candidates as soon as they start their training program say that, okay, maybe I want to work at Robinhood, and I know that Robinhood uses Byteboard as their technical screening
Mhm.
technology. And so the day that I start my boot camp, I can go into Byteboard, see exactly how good I need to be, which languages I need to be proficient in to
Mhm.
be able to get that job at Robinhood. I can complete the assessment once my skill set is there. And then as I begin the interview process with Robinhood, they will know in the first interview that I have the technical competency, and which causes them to be interested in investing more time in me through the interview process versus waiting all the way until the technical interview to see if I'm good enough, to be able to matriculate into the company. And so the last feature set that I'm really excited about is
Mhm.
that we're building out a marketplace for the actual training programs themselves. And so helping candidates
Ooh.
find both the right skill set for them to lean into, but then the right programs for them once they found the right skill set. So we really just want to be end to end for folks, helping them find where the right place for them is in tech. Once they find that, helping set themselves up to be most successful in the job search process.
And that was profound. The only place that I would like to enter in a bit of an edit is that everyone is good enough. We're all good enough, but for the jobs that we're applying for, it's more so about qualification. Do we is there qualification and there's a match here? We can get into what that match means and so much more, but right now it's about making sure that people have access to the opportunities to upskill, to reskill in order to enter the tech landscape. So, I won't get too oh, something
I
in my
would
mind.
on that on your edit though, and I want to echo that like as strongly as possible. Like everyone definitely is good enough. It's about finding the best fit for you, and then just understanding how strong you need to be able to succeed.
Absolutely. Look, did he just edit my edit? I think this is working. He just edited my edit. Goodness, I mean, iron sharpens iron. I
Yep.
feel good. Oh, is this a flex? Is my oh
Okay.
yeah. All right, that's enough. That's enough. I'm not registered to have these guns. All
I'm
right, let me
good.
in the state of New York. Not anymore. So, this has been a really great conversation about Bootup and about you and what you're doing. But I'd really love to hear maybe one or two stories that would really resonate with our audience about the 254 people, one of the or two of the 254 people that you've been able to help transform their lives professionally and personally. Is there anyone you could tell us about that maybe I
Yeah.
could talk to for the Learner series?
Definitely. So I've got three folks specifically who I'm thinking of, and so
Yay!
one, I'll give a profile of an individual who is working, in the plant at Spirit Airlines in Wichita, Kansas,
Mhm.
um, and single father of two, and when COVID hit, ended up getting laid off. It was really hard for the airline industry, right when COVID hit, and so. What he did is he went and joined a boot camp called Design Lab remotely. It's a UX UI design program.
Mhm.
Completed the boot camp, and then within 6 months, he had a job at Cerner in Wichita, working as a UX UI designer, making more money than he's ever made in his life, and being able
Congrats.
to work from home and spend more time with his kids than he's ever been able to spend with his life. And so, I think that's a huge, kind of, story and opportunity, but also, we've had candidates who have 4-year college degrees and majored in something like women and gender studies, for example, where there are lots of opportunities and there's a high level of passion, but a lot of those opportunities aren't super high paying, and so it can make it hard to have the living that you want to live while being in a city like New York City. And so we had one candidate who was a women and gender studies major. Then she attended the Flatiron School, graduated from the Flatiron School, and was able to get a software engineering job at Maven Clinic, which is a women's health company. And so
Yeah.
she was able to not only increase her earning potential, but still stay true to her passion and her values, in life. And so I think, those are just a few examples, of candidates who have had, the opportunity to take their life in whatever direction they wanted to and basically do the things that they wanted to do and have the life that they wanted to have through having a career, in tech. And would love to get some of them here on the podcast or on the show as well.
Thank you very much. This is Talking Tech with Ty, the founder series. No podcast. That's too much editing and all this other stuff. I just want to talk my ish on LinkedIn, which is now they announced it. I'm so excited about this. Now has 800 plus million professionals on this platform. And y'all know that I always talk about this. I always say 714 plus million, but it's official that it's now 800 plus million. So I'm always trying to concentrate the conversations here where you can reach out to people, and please do that. Reach out. Towards the latter end of this conversation, I'm going to remind everyone to connect with Chandler, but we will get there. You mentioned UX UI design boot camps. You mentioned in your stories. So what type of boot camps are available and accessible through Boot Up?
Yeah. So I'll list just in
Typically.
in order of frequency and ease to find them. So we've got software engineering boot camps. We've
Mhm,
got UX UI design boot camps. We have data science boot camps.
mhm.
We've got cybersecurity boot camps. We've got tech sales and customer success boot camps. And what I'm most excited about, and one of our more newer additions, is that we've got blockchain development boot camps that we work with as well.
Okay, see, you just went and did it. I wasn't gonna go here, but you opened the door, so I'm finna walk through that thing. Now,
Yep.
I haven't revealed this about myself yet, so this is a new development, but I have been a crypto enthusiast since I learned about crypto in 2012. I am a graduate of, I don't even say the year anymore because I just say the time of a global economic financial crisis. So
Yep.
If Google's this, then use the internets, which we're currently on. You will know which year or which years. So I out of that came, the influence of crypto and blockchain. And I think that, like you, this is my favorite thing to hear because I've been unsuccessfully trying to enter the blockchain space and getting a job. I am a former developer, and I don't really talk about that aspect because this is not about me. This is about others. This is about talking to subject matter experts. But I want to tie some things in. And I am formally trained as a software engineer. I've spent most of my career doing project management, program management, product management, people management. And I'm just like, there's got to be a job for me in the crypto space. There's got to be a job for me in the blockchain space, which I've been following actively since 2012. And still, like, I'm just like, where's the representation of people in blockchain? If this is future forward, and it is now. If we are architecting our world with smart contracts and the like. Okay, so you got me started. I'm I'm about to get in my Web3 crypto bag, people. That's I'm going. So it's really exciting. So could you talk more about the blockchain, I guess, programming or pilots and the like?
Yeah, definitely. So one of our pre-existing partners, called the Holberton School. So they've got a Tulsa location that we're really close with, but they're also
Mhm.
around globally. They've got one of the strongest boot camp, or I mean, one of the strongest blockchain development programs out there. But there are also new Web3 companies, companies like Rabbit Hole, GG, and Build Space, which are
Yes.
also offering great opportunities for folks to learn how to become blockchain developers, build actual projects for themselves, and those projects make it a lot easier, for candidates to be able to get jobs. And so, I list those as, just three, but there are more and more popping up. And I would say, in terms of demographics and types of boot camps, this is the fastest growing and, most emerging, specific subject and skill set within boot camps that we've seen.
That was a mouthful, and let us further break that down. So I got excited because he said blockchain, and I was thinking crypto, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So crypto is representative of a lot of different facets, not just cryptocurrency, which is about the means of exchange, because currency is what we use to exchange for we use in exchange for goods and services in terms of purchase. So when we mentioned Web3, we're talking about the next iteration of our internet or our world wide web. Right now we're in Web 2.0, so you may see some things that are talking about Web 3 or Web 3.0, where it is going to be more community centric. The buzzword or the main word tied to Web 3 is decentralization. All right. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page when talking about crypto, when we're talking about Web 3 or Web 3.0. The focus is decentralization, putting more power, more ability, more equity, more equality into the hands of the users. So it's very creator centric. And when Chandler mentioned companies like Rabbit Hole, right now, like the landscape for entering into Web3 and creating projects for the next iteration of the web is really centralized on another platform. Should I say it? LinkedIn. Don't be mad at me. I love you. I love you, LinkedIn, but Discord.
Yeah.
So, like, if you are interested in a Rabbit Hole, and Rabbit Hole, they really use gamification. I'm actually, I'm in like a million and one Discord servers when it comes to crypto, Web3, decentralized services, DeFi, which stands for is shortened term for decentralized finance and the like. So if you're interested in crypto, if you're interested in Web3, decentralized everything, then in tandem with LinkedIn, love you, LinkedIn. In tandem with LinkedIn, you might want to also check out Discord servers, as well as find that community that is on Twitter. I'm like, Chandler, this is so exciting to me because here it is that I have not seen a community yet of job training programs yet that are focused on also this landscape of blockchain develop blockchain development. So, how did this partnership come about?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the Web3 opportunities have the highest upside right now of any opportunities. And so
Yeah,
our mission and goal is to, help provide individuals with the opportunity that gives them the most economic mobility. Then we wouldn't be doing our job by only offering Web2, opportunities. Whereas, you've got Web3 companies that are offering people with, 1 year of experience, in excess of 185, $200,000 a year just to come in basically as entry level talent. And so, that's pretty compelling, as to why, someone would be interested, in the space and why it would make sense for us to be able to go deliver basically the pathways into that space for individuals. So,
but how did that come about? And also, I want to clarify that $185,000, is that salary or is that total compensation? Because that's something that I always like to good and explain for the viewers, is that especially when dealing with the tech compensation, there is a difference between the salary, which is the base, and the total compensation, which is inclusive of the base as well as RSUs, which is reserve stock units. And there's also like bonuses and stuff like that. So in tech, it's not just only about what you're making every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, and the like. It's about, you know, a wealth portfolio based on total compensation. So if you could walk us through, were you talking about base salary or were you talking about total compensation so we could get even more excited?
yeah. So, we're specifically talking about base salary for software engineering role. So, yeah.
You heard it. You heard it first, people. I clarified, and he was like, put some respect to my name. You heard me the first time. You didn't have to, get so rowdy like that, Chandler. I just want to clarify for people in the audience. Yes. So, but like, how did this come together? Because, like I said, I have not seen yet a community that is also has an offering of blockchain development.
Yeah.
So that's something that really comes out of the fact that you have a VC background, venture capitalist, for those that are unaware what VC stands for. And VCs have a certain skill set that allows them to navigate other spaces of tech and the like.
So I'll say honestly, this really came from being inspired by some close friends of mine.
Hmm,
I had a few friends who built a Web3 company, and
nice. Shout them
they
out. Shout them out. Unless you
so
want
specifically,
to be shut.
yeah, definitely no. So the company specifically is called Utopia Labs, and what they do is they
Oh,
build payroll software for DAOs or distributed autonomous organizations. And so, for them, they had all these job opportunities after they went and raised, a strong amount of capital, and major congrats to them. And we're struggling to find talent, and so that was really kind of like the trigger. It was like, okay, we really need to go a little bit harder in the Web3 space because, like, if the companies can't find talent, that creates even more of a situation where we can come in and be helpful. And so, from there, because they are a Web3 company, their team was honestly kind and good enough to be able to make some introductions for us, both for us to be able to learn more and come across as legitimate, but then also to start bringing in like real partnerships. So
so exciting. I'm just thinking about the connection, the community, the communication. I like alliteration over here. So at least once every every stream I talk about community, connection, communication, contacts, But go
those
ahead, you.
Those things are super big though. I mean, like I feel like in any industry, but especially in technology, things happen so much more quickly when they're being facilitated through people. And so like for us, this wasn't us applying for a job. This was us, trying to build the best company that we can. But, for folks who are applying for jobs, right, the best way to actually get in the door is, trying to build some of these connections and relationships, outside of, just the job application process. And then you have folks who are willing to go to bat for you, introduce you to the right folks, help you ensure that you have some of the right jargon to use when you're having those conversations. And so just wanted to highlight, kind of the community, the communication, pieces, community, communication, and contacts.
Yes, but don't forget conversation.
Conversation.
I
Yep.
can I can go on for days and days. I'm a rapper, so I mean, y'all don't need
You
to know
want
that.
to take? You got anything out or?
Bars. They call me T Rex. You know, king of the junk. All right, king of the concrete jungle. Don't worry about that. That's an old rap name. We're not gonna go there. One thing that we haven't talked about that I'd like to definitely talk about is the job piece. So we found a boot camp. We were instantly matched for this tech training program. We did it. We navigated that landscape, and then now the next step to transformation. No, the last step to this process, not the next step, not the last step. There's an ongoing, is now getting a job. So could you talk more about like how you support your learners in getting a job to launch their new careers?
Yep, definitely. So we've got relationships with over 80 companies who are specifically open to hiring entry level boot camp graduates. So just because there's an entry level job posting does not mean that the company is open to hiring someone who doesn't come from a traditional tech background. And so for us, every job that's listed on our platform is a company that is open and willing and actively sourcing candidates who are coming from non traditional training programs. So just as a first thing, is there to save candidates time from applying to companies that are maybe still a little bit antiquated, in their talent processes. The second piece that I'll say is that, I feel like for a lot of candidates, the actual training itself is very difficult, right? And so, you get to the end and you feel like, okay, now I can let up a little bit because I completed it. But that job search process, that is a job, and I think, it's important for candidates to know that they need to treat that job search process with the same intensity that they treated their learning, programs with. And with that same level of perseverance, and also important to surround yourself with community again, because important to keep morale and energy high, as you're going through things, and inevitably it may take a little bit longer than initially expected. And so that's kind of where we help in terms of connecting candidates with companies that are specifically looking for their profile. But then also just kind of a word of advice for candidates to help get through. And the last thing that I'll say is that applying on the company's websites, right, applying through us, who has a relationship with these companies, those things are great, but you increase your likelihood of getting the job even higher if you can find who the hiring and recruiting managers are for those jobs and send them personalized notes. And so
LinkedIn. Sorry, I get crazy about that, but continue. Sorry about that.
no, I mean that's spot on, and so while I'm really excited about the tool that we've built, our tool is
Yes.
not the end all be all, for folks who are going through the job search, and I definitely want to encourage candidates to go try to make those connections and build those bonds with the humans who are working within the companies that they're interested in working for.
I just have to say I am really excited to see all that you do, as a Chandler Malone standalone founder and as Boot Up in 2022. Before we wrap up, I really want to leave all of the audience and the attendees with four main numbers: 17.5 million secure for Boot Up participants or learners in total annualized salary. 254 Boot Up candidates placed in 2021, 127 education partners, and 80 relationships with companies looking to hire non traditionally trained tech talent. So, for those of you that are interested, please Get matched with tech training programs and jobs to launch your new career. See, I read that right off the screen like that. You see, oh, I'm about to deliver the weather. Next on. But yes, get matched with tech training programs and jobs to launch your new career at joinbootup.com. And please reach out to Chandler. And what I always say is be kind, be gracious when you reach out to people on LinkedIn. It's like, why hasn't he gotten back to me yet? Actually, let me stop because I don't make the assumption that that's how people act, with all of that. But please do reach out, do connect, do try to have conversations, you know. Do what was the other C? Doesn't matter. You know my C's, with Chandler on LinkedIn. And before we head out, is there anything upcoming in the Boot Up ecosystem that you'd like to make us aware of? Is anything that you'd like to leave us with before we go on with the rest of our day? Because we're so grateful to have you here in our founder series, Chandler.
Yep. So first of all, thank you so much for having me, Ty. And second of all, really excited to share that we just launched our marketplace for non-traditional tech training programs. So if you're someone who's looking to break in, you don't have the skill set yet, you can come visit us, and we'll be able to help point you in the right direction as to where you should get started in this journey. So,
Remember, once again, people, join bootup.com. Join bootup.com. So we're going to head out. Thank you again for joining us as always, because your girl likes to talk about upskilling and reskilling, and very much respective and specific to tech techno. Tech training programs to help people transform their lives professionally and personally. So we're out. Bye, y'all.